Hey everybody, Mac the Monster, back with Marvel Heroes. And this time we got Scarlet Witch on the chopping block, and she's level 60, and I got her set for Cosmics. So we got a little bit of a changed up build from Scarlet Fear, so it's still Scarlet Fear, but we've changed the skill out, and we've changed some gearing. And here, let me bring up the build. And what we're going to do is we're going to put 20 points into Combusting Hex. This time 20 points into Chaotic Hex, 20 points into Chaos Warp, 20 points into Obfuscate, 1 point into Rewind Reality, 1 point into Warding Veil, 20 points into Hex Binding, 1 point into Chaos Shift if you don't have it, I think you do already, 20 points into Chthonic Gloom, 20 points into Ravenous Binding. If you want it, a point into Winds of Chaos if you want to fly around. And then the rest of your points will go into Ominous Veil. I have a point into Bewitching Hex, but that's when I was messing around with things. You don't need a point there. So don't do that. And that's basically the build. And what you're going to do is Chaotic Hex, even though it's a Spirit Burner, I've got it set up through gear to make it so I can actually use that as my basic attack. And then we're going to spam Ravenous Binding, Hex Binding, Chthonic Gloom, Combusting Hex, and then finish with Chaos Warp to kill off enemies. And how that's going to work is through gear. So I got a ring, it's just health, hit points, spirit, and defense. I'm backing up my defense a lot because she's pretty weak. There's no durability on her at all. So she's going to absorb damage like crazy. To help mitigate that damage, we're going to do Advanced Wicked Wand of Watum, and this is going to back up our straight damage as well with mental damage. Backing up our AoE damage. Most of our attacks are AoE, Ravenous Binding, Hex Binding, Chthonic Gloom, Combusting Hex, Chaos Warp, all AoE. So we got the Pluvian Superconductor going on, helping us maintain all that spirit that's going to get burned is a Matt's Arrowhead Super Heroic. That goes on. And a Danger AI chip is going to give us a massive amount, an extra 300 mental damage rating that's not going to be seen, and some extra bonuses for defense and regen if we get hit, and some less damage from AoE. And we all know how those bosses like to give us a lot of AoE. And finally, the coup de grace to make sure that our spirit woes are not drained, because this is a massive drain, Chaotic Hex, to be able to do single target damage. We're actually going to use an Electra Medal, or Medallion in this case. And what the Electra Medallion is doing is letting us get 22.5 spirit when you hit with a movement power. This is only level 52. If you look, Chaos Shift is a movement power, and it does damage. So the devs know what they're doing sometimes. And that's going to allow us to teleport around the boss every couple seconds. We can move around and get some spirit back. This costs 12 spirit, but we'll get an extra 10 spirit, plus the Matt's Arrowhead will give us 15.6. So we'll get about 26 spirit out of doing this every 2 seconds. Will give us 13 spirit a second. And we're burning about 16.6 spirit per second with Chaotic Hex alone. So we're regenerating a big chunk of what we're burning. It's helping a lot. On the Costume Core, it's all health. She has no health. You should go health. A 3-to-1 core. This one's not as good as one. I should probably have upgraded it, but I didn't. I do have her Gloves of Infinite Entropy. I suggest using them. I have her Mark of the Nexus Being. I suggest using that as well. These are only level 53. These are level 53 as well. This is a level 59 Chthonic Headdress. It's good enough to be used. It's +4 to our disruption powers. So that's a big bonus to 4 skills that you kind of use. And then I put the perfect wave on her just because of the +1 durability, +1 to fighting. That's damage to all skills, +1 to all powers, and it's really defensive with some spirit on it as well. So that's really bringing our spirit up there so we can really burn. At 3 spirit a second, and we're almost at 600 spirit. That's pretty awesome. I put a Hydra belt mounted sonar targeting system on there. It's got mental damage rating, crit damage, some extra damage, +1 to all skills, and some defense. So it seemed pretty good for her. Obviously, I'm missing these 2 of her uniques, so that's filling her out. I got health, and that was the biggest concern for me right now is health. So health on a insignia. Anything else you can get helps. This one spawns a lackey to follow you around, and that helps mitigate some of the damage going out. I put the 2 buffs, Ominous Veil and Warning Veil, on a different bar. You can see they're glowing around you. And then we'll take out a nice little Cosmic Dr. Octopus. Trash, you should have 0 issues if you're doing it well. Ravenous Binding should keep you full of health, and then the damage reduction on Chaos Warp alone should also just sustain a lot of damage. Now, without going the full Dr. Octopus way, you probably have to get it closer to get all the damage through, but that's the pains to make bosses easier. You see, I just run right into everything. But my first action is to get off a Ravenous Binding, so I'm healing. First thing on the list, Ravenous Binding. Then I do Hex Binding. Then I drop the Chthonic Gloom to fear everything. Then I do Combusting Hex, where I drop the Chthonic Gloom, because everything where I just dropped that Chthonic Gloom is now feared. And then I hit my big old Chaos Warp. It's a big old one-shot. You spam everything really quick. Make sure you're not doing anything else that's going to prevent you from spamming that. If you miss one, oh well. I mean, it's just trash. It should melt anyways. If you missed Ravenous Binding, however, I suggest recasting. When I just want to burn one mob and I'm using the direct attack, I put everything else but Chaos Warp down, and then I spam Chaotic Hex, I think it is here. Yeah, Chaotic Hex. We'll get everything piled up together, make it nice and easy. Need a few more guys. That's all I need. I actually don't want to use Chaos Warp here on the boss. Although if he's going to be a massive spawner, it could be very beneficial. So this one breaks the mold. Usually I want to floor my Chaotic Hex on him and skip Chaos Warp for the direct damage. But there's too many mobs out there and I can't sustain. I'll burn off the mobs with Chaos Warp, then go back to the direct damage. And you see, because you're teleporting all over the place all the time, Electra's Medallion's just coming through with Spirit. And there's so many dots going around. Super Heroic Matt's Arrowhead's keeping you up with Spirit as well. Tons of mobs that burn them off. Gotta watch those mortars. And even with all this mess, it's actually pretty easy because, well, you can have your choice between Chaos Warp and Chaotic Hex. But I'm usually doing this to the boss all day long. And that just burns them down with all the dots. So get anything good? And it's pretty easy, you just got to stay out of the mortars. If you're going to take a mortar, you either want to be in your Chaos Warp or you teleport away from it. Nah, nothing really good. But that's it. So, you know, that's the Scarlet Fear build. Works really well if you're having trouble with her. And this is going to be a little nudge at some of the people in the group. You should probably try it this way. Anyways, hope it helps. Hope you guys enjoyed. Talk to everybody real soon.